Chelsea Amber here from Christian Guitar Girls, and we are starting to do interviews with women who play guitar and love Jesus. And I'm so excited about this because they're interviews that are encouraging, that we get to hear their stories, and maybe you'll even hear some words of advice for your journey. So we're going to get started with my friend Sarah Oladi in a moment. But before that, I just want to say, feel free to reach out and let me know which Christian Guitar Girls you would like to hear in these interviews. I'd love to hear from you. You can send an email to info@christianguitargirls.com. And yeah, hopefully we can get that person on these interviews. And if you would prefer to listen on the go, then not only will these interviews be uploaded to YouTube, but they'll also be up on your favorite podcast platforms, so you can subscribe on any channel that you prefer. And lastly, if you are a female guitar player or a bass player who would like to connect with other guitar playing women who love Jesus, then feel free to join our Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the description, and you can check that out and connect with us and be encouraged. All right, so we are going to chat with my new friend, Sarah Oladi. Sarah wears many hats. She works in a microbiology lab, very smart, and she's also a student. But the hats that we're going to talk about today are her roles as a worship leader and as a guitar player. So Sarah, welcome.
Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
Good. I'm good. It's a Saturday as we record this, and yeah, it's been a good day so far.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to chat with you about your journey with guitar and faith and everything. But before we get started, because I do want to hang out like we're friends, at a coffee shop just chatting. And so a hot drink, or well, actually any beverage is encouraged. So what are you drinking?
So I'm actually drinking hot tea. This is black tea. Earl Grey is my favorite.
Oh, nice.
So I'm a big tea drinker. I used to drink coffee, but I always go back to tea. So
nice. I am also a tea drinker. I have, when I was pregnant, I had a little bit of a coffee craving, but other than that, I'm all tea all the time, except right now. I'm drinking hot chocolate. I thought I'd go a little bit old school. Yeah. So reminiscent of my days, my teenage days at church. Yeah. We would always have hot chocolate halfway through this. We had a coffee break halfway through the service, and I'd always have hot chocolate. So I'm going old school. Shout out to Halifax Vineyard Church. Yeah. So I'd love to know how did you get started on the guitar?
So I actually got started at the age of 13. So I'm 31 years old right now. So I guess I can give you a little bit of my background.
Yeah.
So
great.
My last name is Oladi, right? So a lot of people are like, well, where is that? What country are you from? Or so my dad is actually Persian. My mom is American. So yeah. So when I was 3, we actually all moved from the U.S. to Iran to be with his family. And then when I was, how old was I? I think when I was 14. So back in 2004, we moved back to the U.S.
Wow.
So when I was, so that's a little bit crazy background story.
Yeah.
But so when I was 13, and we were actually living in Iran at the time. So we had, I remember, a Casio keyboard at home. So I would just like tunes on shows or different songs, and I would start like picking those out on the piano. And then so my mom heard those, and she was like, "Whoa!" She's like, "Okay, this girl's got talent," So she always wanted to learn how to play guitar, like like professionally, because she could just pick out chords, just 2 chords by ear. But she found this little institute, like music institute, so she signed me up for lessons, and then it started from there. So I would practice literally every day. From like when I came home from school, I would just go practice, I don't know, for half an hour before I did my homework, before I ate. I'm like, I just loved it. I ate it up. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
that.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No. You go. You can go ahead.
I was just curious because about moving to, I guess I call it Iran, but it's Iran.
Okay. Yeah, Iran. Yeah.
Iran. So when you moved there and moved back, I'm curious to know about when you became a Christian. Were you a Christian that whole time, or did you become a Christian after moving back to the States? Or
so it's a bit of a okay. So I always believed that there was a God, right? because
Yeah.
I mean, I never considered myself Muslim. I never
Mm-hmm.
considered myself really a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But I always knew there was a God. Like I remember like laying in bed at night, I would pray to God.
Mm.
But my mom, she was the only one who actually taught me about like Jesus. So I knew
Oh, wow.
some background from her. Like
Mm-hmm.
so but I mean in Iran it's everybody's Muslim. You really don't have freedom of religion.
Mm-hmm.
Um so when we moved here in 2004, we started going to church because my mom, she's like, I'm getting my children in church and we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how it started. And then a year later, it was actually on Easter Sunday that I got baptized because I got
Oh,
saved.
wow.
And
Oh,
it was,
that's so
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. So it was, I think the movie Passion of Christ, that's
Mm.
the movie that I watched and I was like, yes, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story. So
That movie's intense. I do
yes,
not cry at movies very often. It's extremely rare, but I bawled at that one.
yes, yes.
Oh my goodness, I think there's a part where Mary sees Jesus fall down when he's carrying the cross, and she thinks about when he was a toddler falling down, and I was just like, "Ma!"
I
Oh, it
cannot
just
watch
hit
it
me.
again
Oh,
because I'm
I've
like, oh,
only, yeah, I watched it once, and that was enough for me. I couldn't handle it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So you started playing guitar as a teenager. You gave your life to the Lord as a teenager. So, um, how did you end up going into ministry? Because you are now a worship leader. So how did you end up there?
So so I guess I'm not really worship leader like right now at a church. It
Hmm.
used to be at the church that we were in before, but I
Hmm.
still I guess post on YouTube and stuff. But
Yep. Hmm.
so this was, let's see. So I guess I could, so maybe this is probably a good time for a little testimony maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
So
Absolutely.
like when I was back in college or like I guess high school slash college, I would listen to a lot of like non-Christian music
Hmm.
because I would like, compromise. I'm like, all right, but the guitar solos are great,
Hmm.
but the lyrics weren't. A
Hmm.
couple songs I remember talked about like God causing pain, like just kind of against God. And I was like, I won't listen to those. But then I remember I was sitting in church and I can't remember what the sermon was about, but I just got convicted and I was like,
Hmm.
I can't do this. I can't listen to these songs anymore. So I don't know if you know what an iPad or iPod because or if you had one, but this is back in the day. But
Hmm.
so I had 200 songs from this one band on my iPod and I
Wow.
deleted all of them. So
Wow.
from then it kind of was like the verse Proverbs, so it's Proverbs 6:3 or so 6, sorry, you can scratch that part.
Hmm.
Proverbs 16:3, so commit to the Lord whatever you do and he will establish your plans. So I
Mm.
kind of saw that verse kind of like, sometimes you see a verse and it just like pops out at you and you're like, yeah, this is me right now. So
Yeah.
I took that verse and so I committed, guitar, whatever I knew of guitar at the time, I
Hmm.
committed that to God. I was like, okay, if this is a gift you've given me, I want to use it for you only and like nothing else. So from then, our worship leader at the time, she was just getting started at her old, so she actually think she approached. And this is when I was just getting out of like our guitar ensemble at UK, and I was like, well, I kind of didn't have anything else to do musically. So I kind of took it from there. And at first I was like, no, no, I'm in school. I can't do that. Like, no. But
Hmm.
then, when there's a will, there's a way. And God opened that door. So I served for about like, I think 7 or 8 years at that church, just
Wow.
playing lead guitar. So yeah. Yeah.
Also, like electric lead
Yes,
guitar. Oh,
electric. Yes.
you go,
Yes.
girl.
Yes. So Strat is like my favorite. I have a Fender Strat and I have a Fender Telly. It's a semi-hollow body Telly, but Strat is like my go-to. So
Very cool. Strat is my go-to as well. I
yes,
have a
yes,
I have a gold Strat that I play and I
pretty.
love it.
Yes, yes.
Man, that's so cool. I love how God opened that door for you after you said, you know what, I'm going in 100%. And I love how, you know what, when we give God our all, he really does honor that. So
Yes.
so yeah, good on you. So I think in terms of the timeline, when did you start? Was this when you said, God, I'm giving you all, my guitar playing? Was that while you were studying guitar, or did you go into guitar after that?
So this was, so let's see, so about maybe 2010, 2011. And
Mm,
then that's right around the time where I was, because at UK Guitar Ensemble, that was part of my music minor that I did at UK. So
okay. And
it was
UK
kind of
is University of Kentucky?
like, yes, that's right, that's
Okay,
right.
not the UK as in United Kingdom.
Not the United Kingdom. It
Yeah.
would be cool, but no, maybe one day I can, visit. But yeah, so University of Kentucky, that's where I went.
Mhm.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
so that, yeah, so
That's awesome. Man, I love that you actually have a minor in classical guitar, and you're using it for YouTube videos over Christmas. I saw that you had posted a couple Christmas songs that you had um, played. I'm not sure if you created the arrangement yourself or if you had learned it, but can you talk about kind of the learning process of how you put those videos
yeah,
together?
yeah. So I don't have much time to post now, but I was like, it's Christmas, I'm doing this.
Hmm.
So those two songs were, I mean, they've always been my favorite Christmas songs. Like, whenever I think of Christmas, I think of that. So over the years, I've heard different variations of these songs. I don't know. I guess I can mention Josh Garrels. He was one of my
Mm.
biggest inspirations. I don't know if you've heard him. Go check him.
I've heard the
But
name, but I'm not too familiar with his music, so
yeah,
I'll definitely
yeah,
have to
yeah. So, because
get that.
whenever I was coming out of my phase of, not listening to other music, that was somebody that I discovered online, and I was like, whoa, like his stuff sounds cool, but he has Christian lyrics that don't
Mm,
sound like the contemporary Christian music style, but which was that
mm,
kind of appealing to me. So he has a
mm,
Christmas album with those two songs on it. So I kind of was like, all right, those are big inspirations. I think the Piano Guys, I don't know if you've heard their version of O Come Emmanuel. It's like very heartfelt, kind of draws you in.
mm.
So I kind of wanted something with that feel and with that vibe a little bit, just to kind of like draw you in and make you really like think, not just like, oh, it's another Christmas Carol. Woo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of sat down with the guitar and that's what came out. So
That's great. Oh, they're so
yeah.
beautiful. My husband studied classical guitar as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so these are his guitars back there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I actually showed him your videos. This was back when you posted them back in December. And I was
Yes.
like, look at this. This girl's in the Facebook group and she posted this. They're phenomenal. And he was like, wow, they're really good. So
Oh,
I will leave a link in the description so people can go check out your YouTube channel. I encourage everyone to do that. And one thing you said that I liked is that kind of stuck out to me is you talked about how Josh Garrels stood out to you because he was different. And I wanted to use that as an encouragement to anybody who's listening who is creating music that might be a little bit different than maybe what's on the radio or what's considered kind of pop music right now. That there is a space for you, and there might be somebody like Sarah who's looking for something a little different, looking for some encouragement. So I just want to encourage all the listeners out here, anyone who is an artist who is trying to find their sound and it's maybe more unique than what's playing on the radio, that God has gifted you with that sound. And yeah, there is an audience for you. So I wanted to throw that out there. And you had talked about in an email prior to this, you
yes.
had mentioned how you're passionate about worship and about giving your gift back to God and letting Him use it for His glory. So, is there anything that you wanted to add to that? Just to that statement that you had mentioned.
Just kind of, um, I don't know, because I feel like a lot of the time, like you can get caught up in like, this is duty. I have to show up Sunday morning, do what I'm supposed
Mm,
to be doing. And I feel like the heart of worship gets lost in that.
mm,
And so just kind of coming back to, your first love, your heart of
mm,
worship, and just kind of giving God all of yourself because it's a
mm,
relationship, right?
yeah.
You want to have that, communication going. So, and if worship, or guitar, singing, if that's your, which is my, mostly my thing. I mean,
Mm,
singing is good, reading a devotional, that's, all that's great. But
mm,
just kind of like having a more intimate connection with God through music. Like if you look at the Psalms, let's say, like David, he explored all rays of human emotion
Mm-hmm.
through music. So that's like another big inspiration of mine. Like he was like, really happy. He was dancing before the Lord with music, but then he had moments where he was like really down, depressed, and he's like, I only eat tears. My food are tears night and day. So,
Mm.
but he explored all of those emotions. So it's okay to be raw and vulnerable with God. So I feel like when you kind of give him all your all in that way, just
Mm.
saying, here, God, I'm really sad about this, or I'm really super ecstatic or happy about this. I mean, he's open to all of it.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to for music and all the, it's like a cleansing, like a kind of, I don't know, it calms me down too. So I don't know
Mm.
if there's anybody out there who's dealing with anxiety. Music is a great way to deal with that. So
Mm-hmm.
just putting it out there. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, those are great words of encouragement, great advice for all our listeners. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to end with some encouragement for our listeners, and you did that. So that's
Yes.
perfect. Thank you so much. Now, how can people find you online? You've got an Instagram account, you've got a YouTube
Yeah.
channel. We'll link those in the description. But what should they type in to find you?
So you can type in Sarah with a H, Sarah Oladi. It's Oladi. So it should show up on YouTube. And then
Mm-hmm.
my Instagram handle is just at Sarah Oladi, just all connected together. So
Perfect. All right. So we'll leave those in the notes for everyone. And I would encourage everyone to go check out her YouTube channel and her Instagram. She's got some really gorgeous songs up there. And you're also a singer. We didn't talk about that,
yes,
but you are a great singer as well. So
thank you,
I've
thank
been
you.
enjoying your cover songs. I believe the Christian Guitar Girls YouTube channel is subscribed to your channel. I'm pretty sure. And so, yeah, I'm so excited for people to check you out. And thank you so
Thank
much for your
you,
time. Thank you for sharing your
thank you.
story, for encouraging people, encouraging our listeners. And just a note to all our listeners, if you enjoyed this chat, then make sure that you subscribe because there are many more to come. And we'll check out the links in the description for Sarah's YouTube, her Instagram, and also the Facebook group for Christian Guitar Girls. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Ciao.